Hi, this is Leslie Maddox. Normally I talk to you about the nitty-gritty of homeschooling, but today is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to do a fun little video about some of my favorite things during February. I wanted to do this video because it was a tough month for me. This month I was sick a lot, had very low energy, which as a homeschool mom is kind of a tough thing to do. Homeschool mom with 3 really active kids. And so it was rough. It was really rough. I just thought, I saw someone doing a favorites video, I thought that seems like fun. I want to focus on the things I really liked about February, things that kind of brought a smile to my face, and so that's what today's going to be about. So I'll kind of go through my day and tell you what are the things throughout my day that I really liked, that really helped cheer me up a little bit. The first thing that brought a smile to my face was this cardigan. It's just a regular shawl collared cardigan, open front, no buttons. I got it for, my parents gave it to me for Christmas as a gift. And it's ended up being perfect for a lot of things. I mean, I've worn it out, which is what it's intended for. And it really gives kind of this casual, comfy vibe. But I've also worn it a lot at home because I was home a lot. And you know, when you're sick, you just kind of, or for me, you know, I just like to feel comfy and cozy when I'm feeling bad, to kind of give me a good warm feeling. So I wore it a lot at home, just like in my pajamas, sitting next to the fireplace. And it's nice because I'm short. I'm 5'2". Well, I thought for the longest time I was 5'3". Turns out I'm 5'2", according to my last physical. I grieved over that inch. But anyway, I am 5'2", it turns out. I'm still gonna get that measured again and see if that's accurate. But apparently I'm 5'2", according to a medical professional. And I don't think this is a petite cardigan. I think it's just regular size, so it's long on me. And I think that's what I like about it. If it fit me the way it was supposed to, I probably wouldn't like it as much. But it's a little bit long on me. Excuse my coughing. It's a little bit long on me, and so it kind of covers my bum and just kind of covers up everything that needs to be covered. So even if I'm very casual at home in my, you know, not going out clothes, and if I need to walk out to the driveway or answer the door or whatever, I'm covered up in it, and it just feels nice and cozy. So that has been one of my favorite things for February. Another one of my favorite items is our butter dish, and that may seem random, but stick with me, I'll explain why. We used to carry gold butter, and it's not like a regular stick of butter. It's wider, and I don't know if it's longer, but it's definitely a lot wider, and it fits that entire thing in there with room to spare. Also, I used to always use the kind of butter dish where it was flat like a little plate and you just stick the butter on it and there's a cover that goes over it, but especially if the kids are messing with it gets real messy when you use that butter. This is more of a tub a tub, and you put a cover on top of it, and that just, I feel, keeps the mess down. My kids have bagels usually in the mornings. They have buttered bagels with some fruit and a yogurt or juice or milk, chocolate milk. And a lot of times they'll butter the bagel themselves, which is fine with me. And I feel like it's a little less messy than if I had just butter from the refrigerator or butter in one of those regular butter dishes. There's not butter everywhere, you know, it's kind of in that tub. It just kind of stays in that tub. I also like that the lid for it's got this little rubber seal, so it's airtight. And you can take that off actually if you don't like it, but I keep my butter dish out near the toaster so that it stays soft, and so you need that kind of airtight covering. And I love that. I love that I always have softened butter. All right, moving on. During the day, during breakfast, I share with you I like that butter dish. It makes breakfast and even some lunches easier. But during breakfast, what I've been doing with the kids is putting on the Bible Project for them to watch. The Bible Project is the coolest thing. If you are interested in scripture at all, check it out. The Bible Project, they produce videos that are kind of like a comic book come to life that explains scripture and different aspects of scripture. The Bible is what I'm talking about as far as scripture goes. And it does it in such a deep way. It explains lots of interesting concepts. It goes into the original language, into broad theological issues. I have learned a lot from watching them. Even though the videos are targeted toward adults, I feel like kids can get a lot, anybody, you know, whether you know a lot about scripture or very little, you can get something out of it. And they're really short videos, so they watch them over and over again, and I think that's a good thing. I like to have content revisited several times because you get a little something different each time, a little something deeper each time, a more complete understanding. So whether it's a book or an audio, you know, a book you read or an audiobook or a video, I think repeated viewings or readings or going over that material repeatedly really helps out. So there, for my kids who have very low attention spans, sometimes it really helps that they're short videos. We've been watching the Bible Project videos on our Apple TV, which is my next favorite item from February, and it's probably one of my favorite items every month since I've gotten it. The Bible Project, they have, you can watch the YouTube videos, but they also have an app for the Apple TV. But I also use it to listen to music on it. I can listen to my iTunes, all my iTunes music on the Apple TV. And so like during reading time, I like to have some classical music on during that time, just something quiet and soothing, and so I can play that through the Apple TV. During lunchtime, I usually let my kids watch 30 minutes of educational programming. I set the sleep timer on the TV, and so it'll turn off at 30 minutes. And I'll usually put on something from the PBS Kids app on the Apple TV, and like Wadcrats or Octonauts or Curious George or whatever, so that they get something fun to watch. Mommy gets some time to herself, and it's educational too. Another thing I love about it is that I can mirror my iPad and my MacBook onto the Apple TV. And that's really the reason I bought it originally for our last schoolroom, which had a TV in it. If I wanted to put up some pictures or something that I found online, if I found something like that I wanted to show the kids, it's easier for me to put it up on the TV and mirror it to the TV on the big screen rather than them all gathering around my MacBook, my laptop, or my iPad. After breakfast, after they've watched the Bible Project and done their chores, I like to have reading time. And during that time, the kids are looking at some books, but also mommy, I'm looking at some books from my mommy's morning basket, my reading basket. And I like to have things in there. I'll do another video about that, but basically I like to have things in there just to fun reads for me, not fiction necessarily, but fun as in educational type fun or mind broadening type fun or that kind of thing. And so I picked up this book called On Reading Well on a whim when I was browsing in a bookstore one day. I thought the topic was interesting, the idea of just kind of learning virtues through reading good books, and I thought it would be a quick read for me. But once I started reading it, I was entranced by the author's writing style, her word usage, the content of the book, so much so that I have been reading it very slowly. I've had it for weeks, probably at least weeks, and I haven't even gotten out of the introduction yet because I keep reading a couple of pages and then stop and consider and then go back the next day and reread those same pages and think some more and read a little bit more and then stop and consider, and the next day I go back and reread that. I've just been rereading it a lot, and it's just so good. I think I'm gonna have that in my reading basket for a long time. And interestingly enough, she does talk in the book about, part of reading well is reading slowly and really taking in the material. And it was funny when I got to that part because I thought, well, girl, you have inspired me to do that with your writing, so good job. So that has been a favorite for me, the thing that I look forward to now, pulling out of my book basket. After our reading time and some group learning time, that's when we get started on schoolwork. homeschool mamas, you know, when you're not feeling good, schoolwork is the last thing you want to do. And it's the same for me. But I have a system set up and I've talked about in previous videos. And you can also look at my blog and I've talked about it on there. A workbox system and kind of planning system that I have set up that works for me really well. I'll link, and I promise you this isn't just me trying to plug my own content. It really has been one of my favorite things this month because it has helped me so much that since I do so much of my planning ahead of time, I'm not having to every day figure out or every week figure out what are we going to do now. And since I have it set up, a system set up where the kids can, you know, they don't need me every second to tell them what to do next. I don't have kids climbing all over me and begging me for information and will you get this from me and what do I do now? And because I feel like that's what makes life difficult sometimes when you're not feeling well and when you're homeschooling, that constant need that the kids have of you. But I've got a system that works up for us so that there's some independence. And yes, I still have to sit with the kids when there's teaching time that needs to happen or to help them or to correct things. But it's not as overwhelming as it could be. So I'll put the links to those videos down below just so you can see what I mean if you haven't seen them yet. But our workbox system, and then also lesson planning through Homeschool Planet that has helped too, because if I'm not feeling good, it's easy for me to just shift certain subjects out a couple of days, and I do that all the time. If we run out of time during the day or if someone's not feeling good like me, I know that okay, this is something we're not going to get to today, and it's no big deal. I can just move out the schedule for that subject or for several subjects out a couple of days and then just check things off as we get them done. So that I was really appreciating that, you know, in the midst of my feeling just terrible and every night when I thought, should I just cancel school tomorrow? I knew that would probably be the wrong thing to do because my kids with nothing except for them to do makes life harder. They're just all over the place. They need some things to do during the day. So I would just go into the schoolroom and since I already had my planning done ahead of time, it took me like 2 minutes to fill the work boxes and to update my oldest son's work on here's what you need to do tomorrow by yourself. And it took no time. And one night I was just like, I'm so glad I have this set up. It's gonna make life so much easier for me tomorrow. So that has been one of my favorite things for February, our kind of workbox and planning system for homeschool. Another favorite thing for this month has been sour cream enchiladas. My kids are vocal when they don't like something. They are not shy about sharing their discontent. My youngest loves to tell me, this is disgusting. I mean, it's just, dinner time is rough. So when I find a recipe that everybody really likes, I'm really excited. So I got the sour cream enchiladas recipe from the Magnolia Cookbook, which is another book I have in my reading basket. So far I've tried, I think 4 recipes, and they have all been winners. As far as some my favorite self-care for this month, it has been getting manicures with the dip powder. Now, manicures is one of those things I haven't really been interested in having for many years now. When I was single, and I was single for a long time, you know, I didn't get married till I was 33. But when I was single and, you know, worked as an engineer, had money, so I was regularly at the nail salon. Felt very important to me to get my hands done. I had acrylic nails, to get my nails done and to get pedicures so my feet look nice and sandals and all, and especially in Texas we have these really long hot summers, so all that was really important to me. But once I got married and started having kids, and I had, you know, 3 kids in less than 5 years, all of my pregnancies were difficult, and then having these 3 active little boys, kind of one right after the other, and just kind of the toll it took on me, on my body and on my emotions and all. Manicures, my nails were like super low priority. I was not interested in dealing with any of that. You know, I had such little free time to myself. I really didn't want to spend the little free time I had like going and sitting in a nail salon. You know, if I was going to go somewhere, I wanted to like go read a book, something like that, not get my nails done. And my husband doesn't really care about that. It's not something that he cares a lot about. So I stopped doing that. I really just wanted to cut my nails short, and that was that. But now that my youngest is 4, things are a little easier. You know, they don't need, you know, we're not changing diapers and really having to kind of physically deal with the kids a lot. And they can kind of entertain themselves some, and are just more manageable. I feel like I have some breathing room, me and my husband both. And so I started thinking more about some self-care. The problem with the manicures though was that, you know, I'm a mom and I use my hands a lot. I put them through a lot of abuse every day. And so simple nail polish doesn't work for me. The nail polish would chip a lot. And you know, I hate the look of chipped nail polish. Even shellac nails, I would crack those and damage those. I mean, I don't know how I did. It just would happen. But I was happy to discover that in the 10 years since I've gotten regular manicures, there have been some improvements in the beauty field, and one of them has been with the dip powders. They come lots of different colors, so it's fun to try different colors. I've tried red and blue, and now I'm sporting a kind of a pinky beige with sparkles in it, and nails look great all the time. The other day, I was chopping something up, and the knife slipped, and I kind of scraped along one of my nails, and I thought, oh my gosh, is it ruined? But nope, didn't affect my manicure at all. Still look great. So I'm a really big fan of the dip powders. It does take a while. It is more expensive than really anything else. It does take a while to apply. And you know, you have to go back every few weeks. I can go about 3 weeks to get them redone. Unlike the acrylic nails of years past, they don't refill them. They take them all off and then reapply. So, you know, there's all that. But for me, right now in this stage of life, I really enjoy them. And I also do get them done shorter than a lot of people do, and that seems to kind of offend the nail people sometimes, of why are you bothering if you're going to keep your nails short? You know, I don't keep them short as I used to keep them, just kind of an active length. Short enough so that I can still do all the things that a mom does. But even with them shorter, it makes my hands look so much better. And so for me, I just really like that. It's not gonna be everybody's cup of tea, but for me, it's something I really like and that I've been enjoying lately. And I like looking at my hands now, and I feel like I look like a grown-up. Dip powder manicures have been one of my favorite things for February. Now on to my final favorite thing for the month of February, and that has been my husband's humor. As I said earlier, I didn't get married until I was 33. I was single for many years, and I just always assumed that I would marry someone like me, who's just kind of quiet and introverted and just like to sit around and read or be a homebody. I eventually realized that would probably be pretty boring, and I decided, man, I want someone the opposite of me, someone who's fun and goofy and social, and turn my husband, he's all of those things. We actually met online, and in one of his pictures that he had on his profile just showed him being kind of goofy and silly, and I thought, yep, that's the kind of guy I need. And you know, here we are 11 years later. Or 12 years later, actually. We've been married for 11 years. So this month, you know, since I've been kind of weepy and emotional, as I've been feeling not well, I've really appreciated that he comes home from work and after a long day and he commutes. So he's an hour each way to his office, and he still come and can be silly and goofy and make us smile and say random stuff. And I've just been really appreciative of that this month. I'm so glad that I married him and someone like him who has that personality. He's a great husband to me and a great daddy to our boys. They love having a fun daddy like that, and I love having a fun husband who can bring a smile to my face even when no one else can. So my husband's humor has been one of my favorite things for the month of February. Now that we're in March, here's hoping that you and I both have a month full of joy and peace and health. And thank you so much for watching.